Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crazy for Cars. I'm Lyndon. I usually work on the old Belvedere or other car projects, the fun stuff during these videos. But today I thought I'd try something different. This is a 2005 Pontiac Sunfire. We've had the car for about roughly 9 years. Great little car. Everything works excellent on it, except for the gauges. Here, I'll show you what it's been doing lately. This is what I'm talking about here. When you go to start the car, you start it up, and as you can see, I got no temperature gauge. The tach seems to be working. No speedometer, and no fuel gauge at all. Started about 2-3 winters ago, when it first started getting cold in the fall. I lost the speedometer. And for me, that was no big problem. I just drive the car around town, watch the tach, been more or less ballpark on the speed limit all the time, and I wasn't too worried about it. And now recently, it started acting up temperature gauge once in a while, and now the one that really bugs me is the fuel gauge. Nothing worse than driving around town, not sure how much gas you got in it, if you're going to run out on the way home or out to the store or something. So I tried going online and buying a new gauge cluster, and they're just about impossible to find. So I looked on eBay, and they have these repair services where you can pull your gauge cluster out, send it down to the States. They'll put these new stepper motors in them and send them back. But it's fairly expensive, and I just didn't want to wait that long. So my next option was this. So I did some looking around and some research, and I came across this stepper motor replacement kit off of Amazon. It was roughly $50. Came with 7 stepper motors. I only need 4. This is a stepper motor here. This is what the needles for your gauges sit on. And it's just soldered into the back of the board, 4 little spots. I've watched some videos. It doesn't look too bad. So got a soldering iron, the little tool for helping remove the solder. It came with some lights in case I want to change the lights in the gauge cluster. There's some white ones, some blue ones, and red ones. I'm not sure if I'm going to go that far. But I'm going to give this a try. Like I said to the wife, it's already broken, so all I could do is screw it up more. So I'm going to get started here and start ripping apart the dash, and I'll show you how it goes. So the first thing you do is you pop out this grill in the center of your dash, and there's a Phillips head screw right in the middle. You remove that screw. And then the piece in front is supposed to just pop up and out of place and remove her. So I'm going to give that a try. And this front piece just snapped right out. It wasn't too bad at all. So I'm going to move on to the next step. Then on either side of the dash, there's 1 screw each right down in here that you remove. The next step is to open up the cubby hole and remove these 2 screws right here. So that's what I'm going to do. The next step was up front here. There's some screws in the front. So you remove those. I've removed about 3 or 4, and I believe I got to remove these 2 right down in here. So that's what I'm going to do next. Once you get those 2 screws removed, you just grab the panel and you just pull it out of the way and get access to everything else. To finish getting the dash out, there was 1 screw right over here, and in behind that metal trim that was here, I removed the metal trim, and the last screw was hidden underneath it. And with that, the dash just came right out, no problem. I see we're going to have to do some cleaning. I'll probably send my lovely assistant over there to do it for me. Right, babe?
Probably.
There you go. Okay, and now once those bolts are removed, you just pull forward and pop it up. It's just in there in little rubber grommets on either side. And with that, it's free. You get her up on a bench here. First of all, remove the, press down on these clips here to separate the front lens from the gauge pen. Oh, that should be all it is. And just like that. Oh, the little kilometer reset thing, I'll have to remember to put that in there. So you just remove this stuff here and set it off to the side. And that's it for a second here. So the next part, they said, put some tape down on these, put them back to 0, plug it back in, and they'll go back to where they're supposed to be. So that's what I did. And then they say to mark them where each one is. So you just put a little mark here where this one's at. Of course, I could use a better pen. And this one just right there, and this one goes right there. Okay, oh, I tried that pen didn't work. And the last one, we'll just mark it right here. Step they say is to remove those needles. So they give you this little tool, and you just put her in underneath, and it's supposed to just gently prop up. Oh, there we go. And we'll set these down in order. So that one goes there. This one I'll put right beside it. And there we go. There we got the order that the needles came off in. Now they say to flip it over upside down and to remove the back. So I'm going to use the same tool. Just a little bit of prying here. To pop up the tabs. Do the other side, I guess, too. So just. Oh, I'm going to try a screwdriver. 1 second. And I'm going to just try popping these odds up with a screwdriver, just a little bit easier to get back in at the angle. Oops. There we go. So you remove the back cover. And now the next thing you're going to do is right here on these 4 spots, 1, 2, 3, 4, is where each step motor is welded in. So I'm going to remove this. I think this will just pop out. It should just pop out, I believe. Yeah, there it goes. And you heat up each one of these little spots where the stepper motors are in there, and you use that little tool to remove the solder, and then you just pull them out. So I'm going to give it a try on the first one right now. And now to remove the solder from this board, first of all, you press this plunger down here. You heat up the solder till it's nice and hot, and once you figure it's hot enough, you quickly put this tool over top and go like that, and it sucks the solder up into the tool. So I've done it to these 4. So now let's see if this stepper motor is loose. And we'll just give her a little wiggle. And look at that, out it came. That was actually pretty easy. So now what I'm going to do is I got the replacement stepper motor. I'm going to put it back in and solder this one in, and then I'll move on to the next one. So I've inserted the new stepper motor back into the circuit board, and I'm going to give it a try soldering. So let's see how it goes. The kit came with this thicker solder wire, but I had this little bit smaller stuff here, so I'm going to give this a try and see if this works a little bit better. So let's give her a little heat up here, and just a little dab of solder. And we'll try the next one. That seems to work pretty good. That one's in. She's got a steady hand. It's a good thing I wasn't out drinking a bunch of beer last night. This could have been a catastrophe. And this one here. And I believe she's soldered into place. I'm going to try just a little bit more dab right here, but no, I think I might have her. There, that doesn't look too bad. Let's have a closer look here once. No, I'd say by the look of it that those are pretty good little solders. So I'm going to move on and do the other 3, and I'll get back to you after I'm done that step. So I got the 4 old stepper motors out and all 4 new ones in, soldered them in. I'm really glad I used a smaller wire. It made a really nice job. All the joints, the solders went really good, didn't make a big mess. So now I've put the back cover back on, and now I'm going to put the needles on and recenter them. So stay tuned. So I've adjusted all the gauges back to where they're supposed to be, and I'm going to go plug this into the car and see if it works. So I hooked the gauge cluster back in the car, and I made sure everything was zeroing up the way it's supposed to be, and everything seems to be working so far. So I'm going to put it back together, put it in, and take it for a spin, and I'll let you know if everything works. Well, there you go. Temperature gauge seems to be working. I got a tach, I got a speedometer, and it also looks like my fuel gauge is working. So I think this was a success. I'm just going to go home quick like and clean the dash quick like and put her all back together. And that's about it for now. I'll get back to you in a bit. Well, I got to say, altogether, this little chore today was a complete success. I have all my gauges working back in the car, which is absolutely great. I filled up the tank to make sure it shows full. My heat ran at the same temperature when we took her all around town for a while. Tach works great. Speedometer is about 1 or 2 kilometers slower than it should be, but you know what, if that saves me from getting a ticket, driving a little bit slower, what the heck. But yeah, I'd say it was pretty damn easy, and instead of spending a bunch of money sending it away, getting somebody else to fix it. It took us maybe 2.5 hours to pull everything apart, solder out the old ones, put the new ones in, put it all back together. The only thing left to do is I'm just gonna seal in this top grill up here. It came out quite a few years ago and I had silicoted it in before. So I'm just going to clean her up, put a bead around it, and we're going to call this one finished. I have some more parts to install on the old Belvedere. First of all, I got myself a little windshield washer sprayer and pump. It's a smaller one, but that's all I need. Got myself an overflow tank for the radiator. The new distributor. I'm going to pull the valve covers off and set the valves. So I got some new gaskets. I got myself a new flamethrower coil that goes along with the distributor. I got the Pertronics ignition that I'm still going to put in it. And while I'm at it, I'd bought this fuel pump here a while ago, and I figured there's no use running around with one that's 50 years old, so I'm going to install that. And I picked up a new fan belt also. So stay tight and hang on. And in the next video, that's probably what I'll be doing. So have yourself a great day, take care, and have a happy Halloween. Boo.